Hey guys, welcome to the Succulents Network YouTube channel. Today I am going to talk about succulents growing long stems. There are times when succulents in people's gardens start growing long stems, and that is often creating inconveniences for people who didn't expect it to cover much space. The leggy stem can mess up the whole arrangement, especially if you have several plants and the garden space is not large enough. Succulents growing long stems is something that happens from time to time due to a variety of reasons. Almost every individual with home garden or pot plants will testify of seeing a phenomenon wherein the succulents stretch their stems in the process of losing the beauty and cuteness of the plant. Sometimes these leggy and stretching stems end up with other plants, creating a messy picture. In this guide, I will walk you through the solutions of how to deal with succulents growing long stems. But why do succulents grow long stems, you might ask? There are several reasons that explain why succulent plants grow long, leggy, and stretched out stems. The most common reason is their need for sunlight, since the succulent needs a certain amount of light to grow properly. If succulents do not get enough sunlight, they begin to grow tall and stretched out. Succulents growing long stem when it receives inadequate light, and this can happen indoors or outdoors. As long as the plant is denied adequate light, it will stretch and get this necessity for growth. A shortage of light will prompt the plant to become leggy and stretch its stems in a bid to reach the nearest source of light. At the same time, succulents will stretch their stems when the source of light comes from one direction. The plants require considerable exposure to light before developing in the desired shape and will grow towards any direction where there is enough light source. Even if there is enough light coming in, the plant will tend to grow towards the source if said light is not enough to hit your plant all around. However, sunlight is not the only reason why succulents grow long stems. Some plants will become leggy because it is their nature and have the tendency to become leggy. Sometimes there is nothing wrong with the plants growing leggy based on the type of species you have selected for your home. For example, agave is a succulent plant that has a tendency to become leggy. A succulent stretching for more light has a weak stem compared to this that sprouts naturally will have stronger stems. The number of leaves on the succulents also vary depending, while some succulents will stretch less than others. While this practice will mostly happen with plants grown indoors, you will find some outdoor succulents stretching, especially when there is too much shade. But what do you do with succulents growing long stems? Versatility is one of the appears associated with succulent plants, which means you can do a lot with them in modeling to your desired shape. Before deciding the appropriate solution, you should first determine the reasons for the plant is getting leggy. If you have succulent plants getting leggy by growing long stems in a natural way, you simply need to give them a good haircut. Trimming the plant will help its growth by ensuring uniform sprouting without getting leggy. It is a great way to propagate the succulent and multiply its collection, since the base of the plant where cuttings were taken from will continue to grow and produce baby plants. On the other hand, if the plant is becoming leggy due to inadequate light, the solution is to increase the amount of sunlight inside the room. Once you increase the amount of sunlight that plant is taking, it will slowly recover and start to correct its growth. Of all the factors affecting plant growth in the interiors, adequate light is the most important. This is because your plant needs to produce food through photosynthesis to survive. In this regard, increasing the number of hours of light exposure to a plant can help reduce becoming leggy. Putting the succulents in a poorly lit area will not help much in preventing the crop from stretching. Now, let's talk about how to fix a long stem. If you experience succulents growing long stem despite being a short variety, then you need to do something to stop the rest of the plants from stretching. However, it is not possible to revert back a succulent that has stretched out to its original height and shape. The first thing you will need to do is to cut off the stem using a sharp pair of scissors, while leaving a couple of leaves on the base to absorb sunlight. These cuts can be used to grow succulent root exponentially. Pruning the stems when they stretch can also be a solution to this problem, although it will not last since succulents can easily propagate and replant. The perfect time to prune succulents is during the spring or summer, which are perfect seasons to give the plants time to grow before the freezing season. However, it is allowed to prune the leggy succulent anytime they appear to stretch. Lightening up is a natural solution to avoid leggy succulents, especially when dealing with indoor plants. Ensure you provide adequate light for the pot plants, such as glowing light that is eventually distributed to help in growth. Secondly, you can avoid long stems in succulents by making a habit of moving the plants to position with enough light exposure. For example, if one side of the plant is exposed to sun more than the other, you can make turns to switch up the positions. Or you can keep the pots going around by rotating them periodically. This way, each of the plants will be hit by the light evenly for proper growth. Temperature is also an important factor when discussing the issue of succulents growing long stems. In a sense, ensure your plants get as much indirect sunlight as possible to prevent them from stretching. The sunlight provides both temperature and light needed for their growth. When dealing with indoor succulents, the most sensible option is to put them close to a window, where they can get the most sunlight throughout the day. A succulent that is stretching is not really a problem, as the cuttings can be used to start a new garden out of it. Remember to subscribe and like this video.